This is Kati's story. She's 28. At 20, she married Jan, who was 23. They have 2 children, a 7-year-old and a 3-year-old. Growing up, Kati's childhood was filled with fear. She watched her father beat her mother several times a week, sometimes so badly her mom needed to go to the hospital. This was the only model of marriage she knew. Right after their wedding, Jan took control of the finances. He told Kati she didn't know how to save money and would only give her enough for groceries and household items, demanding receipts for every purchase. When Kati became pregnant in their first year of marriage, the verbal abuse began. Jan constantly told her she was a bad homemaker, and lucky he was with her because no one else would want her. After their first child was born, the verbal abuse turned physical. Jan started beating Kati, accusing her of loving their child more than him. Desperate, Kati went to her mother hoping for help. But her mother's advice was heartbreakingly familiar. This is part of marriage. A woman has to stick with her husband. She was told to just put up with it. As their son grew, Jan's violence turned on him too, threatening and beating the little boy. Kati was terrified, but she held on to the belief that separating a child from their father would be even more harmful. Trying to find a way out, Kati confided in a co-worker, telling her about the regular beatings and her desperate need for help. But instead of support, she found gossip. Her private pain became office chatter. The shame and stress made it hard to work. She started missing days, and eventually she was laid off. Now, Kati was completely isolated, with no job, no income, and trapped in a violent home. But one day, something shifted. While reading a magazine, Kati found a story about a woman who had escaped an abusive relationship. At the end of the article were phone numbers for hotlines, shelters, and support centers. A tiny spark of hope ignited. Kati realized she couldn't bear the abuse any longer. She made a call. On the other end of the hotline, a kind voice listened. For the first time, Kati wasn't judged or dismissed. The woman on the phone told her she wasn't alone, that so many women were going through the same thing. This conversation gave Kati the courage to talk openly with her older son about their shared fear of his father. They were in this together. After weeks of careful thinking and planning, Kati called her sister. She asked if she and her sons could stay with her for a little while. Her sister, who had almost lost hope that Kati would ever leave, was overjoyed to help. One afternoon, while Jan was out, Kati packed their most essential belongings. With her 2 sons by her side, she walked out that door and didn't look back. At her sister's house, a new chapter began. They immediately started looking for a job, with her sister asking friends and scanning ads. Kati also saw a lawyer to understand her rights regarding custody and divorce, and importantly, how to prove the abuse they had suffered. Soon, Kati found a job she enjoyed, and with her own income, she rented a small apartment for herself and her boys. It was theirs. It was safe. She reached out to child welfare services and discovered a support group for her older son, a place where he could heal alongside other children who had experienced similar trauma. And for herself, Kati found a self-help group for women who had survived domestic violence. By sharing her story and listening to others, she began to understand the patterns of abuse and how her relationship had become so destructive. She started to heal. Kati's story isn't just about escaping, it's about rebuilding. She decided that once she was fully back on her feet, she would volunteer to help other women trapped in violence, using her own painful journey to light the way for someone else. If you or someone you know is experiencing a similar situation, please know that you are not alone and help is available. There are resources and people ready to support you. We'll list some in the description below. Thank you for listening to Kati's story. Please like, share, and subscribe to help us raise awareness. You never know who might need to hear this.